What are you doing over there?
I don't know how to get rid of some of this stuff.
It
Uh,
I'm scared when I see the vertical and the horizontal now though. I'm like, no more
I
live
do
streams.
too. I don't know how to do this.
Oh
How to
no,
get
not the
rid of it.
vertical and horizontal.
It's
Usually
new.
it says if you want to get rid of this, push here, and I'm like, yes. And I don't know.
No, that's not what we want. Hold on. See, I'm just pushing buttons too. I don't even know. Fix it, Richard. Fix it.
I hid the view of the vertical broadcast, but that doesn't
But
really.
usually I can get rid of this
It's
I don't know why it's not letting me do it.
it's a stupid vertical thing. YouTube, do something that would actually help us instead of causing
I
us.
know, right? I'm so tired of them doing stuff that's not helpful.
YouTube isn't interested in helping the creators. They're interested in helping YouTube.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's pretty much what it comes down to. They want to compete with the vertical formats of, TikTok
I have been getting
and
more views with it.
Instagram and
That's the thing. You get more people to actually they put more eyes on it, which is
Mhm.
good. But at the same
Yeah.
time, you're getting a lot of people that you have no idea. Like we have certain
Yeah.
kind of people that come to us. We have like community and family, and
Yeah, I'm
sometimes
trying to
with
get rid of it.
people that are not necessarily people that you want up in there. The trolls and the
Oh, I know.
no six
Aria
chat.
says
Right.
no chats.
That's what I'm screaming. It's not, is it? I don't think it is.
What is it?
We did the other night whenever we were doing the intro to the village kind of thing, the before. Well, we were multicasting or simulcasting in 3 different places,
Oh, yeah.
but it was 2 different formats, and so there were 6 live
Well,
streams
that's
at
not
one
what I
time.
want to do either at all.
It was
No,
horrible.
but that also leaves each person who might be like, I'm the only person in the vertical chat on this channel.
Exactly.
And they're all alone because they have no one to chat with and they don't see anybody else's chats. They're not like us. We get all of them, but they're in their chat by themselves, which is
It isolates. It does the exact opposite of what we're wanting to do. It doesn't bring people together. It makes people feel even more, just isolated. And what am I doing wrong? I'm disassociated big time. And Aria, she was so amazing. She went to every single chat and she was modding every single one of those.
Aw.
But you feel like you ran a marathon after just doing a couple of those simulcasts, let alone 6.
Yeah. My mods were wanting to mod, so I said, I think the only way I can let you be on there to mod is if I, share it to my channel, which I don't care about the, sharing it other than that was the only way I could get it where they could mod. So, I
Well,
don't know. But now I can't get rid of this little deal on the side. Usually I can just click on that and it'll go away. Like I won't see it.
I think that what we're going to have is we're going to have 3 lives. Then
Susie Jan, where are you? Are you on Susie's channel? Is that why?
Yeah, she's one of my mods.
Yeah.
She says no wrench. Uh-oh.
Oh,
did she lose her wrench
keeps
again?
Disappearing.
Oh no.
We cannot figure it out.
Tubes, man. I'm telling you.
Like she's a mod, but she's also like a managing mod. And so I can put her on the mod list and she'll have a wrench. And if I then put her on the managing mod, it takes her wrench away, but she can get backstage. But
what?
So I know, which makes absolutely no sense. So then I took her off the deal where I said, okay, let's regroup, So I took her off the managing mod thing and just put her back as a regular mod. And it still wouldn't give her a wrench. So the other day, we've been doing this for like 2 months. Constantly. So like every week I battle with it a couple of times a week. She'll have a wrench, she won't. She'll have a wrench, she won't. So the other day I went in, I put her as a regular mod, went up and put her as I put her as a regular mod, and I went up and made her a co-host. And we went live and she had a wrench and she could get backstage. And we were like, finally.
Score.
Finally. Everything's working as it should. So then today she don't have one. So I don't know.
YouTube, y'all's gonna have to get it together.
I know. They're driving me nuts.
Man, which I mean, it shouldn't matter one versus the other here. I mean, that's just so weird. It's so. Did y'all see that they're doing the AI now for like Suno and things on YouTube?
Oh no.
Yeah, you can have it make your own songs on YouTube on the shorts. You can have it make your own, like you can draw something, like you draw a heart and the heart just explodes with flowers. I'm like,
Wow.
y'all need to leave
Cool.
that stuff alone for a little bit and start
Fix the
focusing on,
basics.
yeah, because you message them and you ask for help and they'll send you a generic AI answer. And you know me with AI, I'm not opposed, but I am
No,
if it's
me either, but
human listening to me,
But it's
telling me
not
what I
great
need
for customer
help.
service. Yeah.
It's
no,
horrible.
and the thing is like when we're having so many like minor, it's big to us, but it should be
Mhm.
minor things to them. I
Yeah,
want them to fix those things and quit like just making fancy. I don't care about fancy. I
right.
want it to be, where it works.
Functional.
Reliable, yeah.
Yeah, I want it to function. Could not come up with the word.
That's going to be one of the themes of our discussion here.
Really? That I
Well,
can't come up with
honestly,
words?
No,
I'm
about functionality. It's just
Oh,
about bachelor's in engineering from Rensselaer Polytech. And back when I was there, I was dating, for a time, I was dating someone who was from nearby Russell Sage College, which is an all women's college.
mhm.
And they were a little bit, they pointed out how geeky some of us were. I mean, that's a little bit over the top, but she said a number of them had a saying for the RPI students: "You're an engineer, fix it, make it work."
Yeah.
And but
Yeah.
that in some way has been part of my philosophy for a long time. Um,
Mhm.
I don't want to. I'm sure Keela's watching, which is not going to be a great thing. Don't watch this part, Keela. I was a very logical kid, even when I was little. And you're just, you're learning, you're eating for yourself.
Mhm.
And first you either have a fork or a spoon, and then you get big enough and old enough, they give you a knife. And of course, don't want to cut your finger off or anything like that. Well, this
Mhm.
thing it's new and it's dangerous. So what do? Logical kid. I take the knife and I hold it in the hand that was the one I was used to using, fork and knife, right hand, right?
Mhm.
Well, if the knife goes in the right hand, the fork goes in the left hand. And what do? I start eating left-handed. So
Mm.
I've kind of forced myself to, and I'm now capable of being a little bit ambidextrous, which is why I said, don't watch this part.
Oh.
Bother her. Brush my teeth left-handed, eat left-handed. And it's just
I do a lot of things left-handed.
most right-handed people don't get that kind of like, and if you're left-handed, yeah, you kind of have to be ambidextrous to some
Mhm.
degree because so many things are just made for right-handed people.
Yeah. I do a lot left-handed. I mean, a lot of stuff. I really do. A lot of things left-handed. Like whenever I cook left-handed, with like the spoons and spatulas and stuff a lot. And I can write left-handed. I can, gosh, I don't know. I just do things. Like I scroll on my iPad and stuff. I do a lot of that kind of stuff left-handed. It's weird. It's just me being weird. So John is saying that he can't get
Yeah, I'm
backstage.
just kind of
Yeah.
messaging Mish if she can see if she can send an invite to him.
Yeah, give me a second. I'm gonna pop out completely and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of interruption, that's all.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So do we want to go ahead and just get started?
I think
This,
I think I kind of interrupted that little discussion
yeah.
with something that kind of started us in this direction, but I think
Oh,
that's
it's
pretty
fine.
cool.
I'm really interested to get to know you a little bit because I see you, most of the times that I go live, I see you in the chat, but I've never really got to to get to know you. And I know other people that they're like, "Oh yeah, he's such a cool guy. He's nice and all this." I'm like, "I'm assuming he is, but I don't know anything about him."
He
So I
makes
was
strange jokes in the chat like Ben, and
yes, that's what I
maybe
said.
not
I was
quite
like,
as
"He's a"
creative as Ben or Mario, but
yeah, I'm like, "He's another Ben. He's another Ben." Ben
actually,
is
I have to say it's really weird how many different channels Ben and I happen to just keep
really
coinciding with on different
yeah.
groups and things like that. And I mean, I do have a bachelor's in biomedical engineering
Mhm.
from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. And for those of you who are keeping track, yes, that is the school that Keith Raniere went to. There's a few different, like, either weird culty close calls or
Yeah.
just weird things that kind of I've kind of gone through in my life, and we can cover a few of those.
Oh, yeah. That's I'm all for it. I didn't really make up any questions or anything to ask you. I just thought, I'm just gonna let him talk, and I'll just pop in with questions when I have them, and or try to catch them in the chat a little bit.
Yeah,
So
so I mean, for me, that's one of the things when it comes to that functionality thing. I hadn't thought about it until years after graduating from RPI, how much, a lot of what I needed to deal with was all for me,
mhm.
it was focusing on functionality. I grew up in a house that had it was second generation, what I would call alcoholic family dynamic.
Mhm.
My mom grew up in an alcoholic family, my grandfather,
Yeah.
and but she, some of that carried over when I was a younger kid,
Yeah.
and I was the one that my mom managed to be focused her anger and uncontrolled anger on.
Mhm.
So there is that song, which kind of is. I know Teresa. We were talking about songs.
Yeah.
There is that line: "Be a good little boy, and you'll get a new toy." Tell grandma you fell off the swing.
Aw.
But what happens with that, and what did happen with that, that and another issue, because I was kind of like, I don't know, I never really fit. I looked at the whole alcoholic family dynamic listing of like different roles and things like that.
Mhm.
I don't think I ever really fit precisely in one, but I was still the kid who tried to be a good kid.
Yeah.
And when I was young, my grandmother was very smart. My dad's mom, who lived in the same house that we did, it was like a two family. She lived downstairs. She was very smart. She started us as little kids with this incentive. You get $1 for every A you get on your report card.
Mhm.
It's a great way to get kids to want to study, earn
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
And this is back when $1 actually meant something, not you younger folks, where it's like $1. No, this is
Yeah.
when $1 was actually something for a kid to get. And so I was a good student, just a good kid. And I went to Catholic school.
Mhm.
We actually grew up across the street from the church.
Wow.
Um, and so I was one of these kids who was an altar boy from like third grade on. And I had an older brother who was 1 year ahead of me, and we were both good students. And so we were the ones who would get picked like out of school if there was like a funeral or something like that going on during the week. We'd get tapped on the shoulder to come down to the church and serve the mass, and then go back up to school. But those were the times when altar boys got a little bit of tip money when doing the serving the mass as well. So we were both getting out of school and getting paid for it. Hey, can't pass that up.
Yeah.
Um,
Hey, John.
hey, are you with us,
Hello.
John?
I am finally.
Um, so
It's
where
good to
was I
see
going?
you.
Where was I going with
Good
that?
to be
Okay, so
seen.
I grew up, yeah, went to Catholic school and then went to public junior high.
Mhm.
And that was like getting hit by a train.
I bet. I bet
Um,
so.
because not only was it, I used to go in school in a uniform. I didn't have clothes that fit. I got a bunch of
Oh.
hand-me-downs, and then you're the kid who's out of style.
Yeah.
And also where I grew up, in the neighborhood, you played with kids in your neighborhood when we grew up,
Mhm.
but everybody in my neighborhood was my older brother's age.
Oh, yeah.
And even in junior high, they separated everybody by age to the extent that they had different start times
Mhm.
for like 7th and 8th grade. So like all through junior high, I, was never going to school with my brother, never like, we never coincided at any point in time there. And the friends who were my closer friends that I grew up with weren't a part of my class. And junior high, there's that book by, I think it's William Golding, Lord of the Flies.
Mm.
They should like have 6th graders read that just so that you know what's coming. Um, because that was 7th and 8th grade, bunch of really tight cliques and things like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't fit in with any of them. And there was the Misfit clique. Yeah, and the
Mhm.
Misfit toys. The Misfit clique. I was the one they kicked around.
Oh, wow. Aw.
And so um, the
Makes
only
me sad for
reason
you.
it was a really tough time. Truthfully, I would not be here if I could have definitively figured out how to off myself
Oh.
and not, not fail.
Mhm. That is so sad.
Because in the position I was in, the only thing that would have been worse than being where I was and getting out of the pain would have
Mhm.
been to be in the position I was in and then be the kid who was, well, you were such a F up
Mhm.
that you tried to kill yourself and you couldn't even do that right.
Yeah, I get it. I truly do.
So I
I
walled
for one,
myself.
I for
Yeah,
one am glad that you're still around, buddy.
I am
'Cause
too.
you're a good
thanks.
guy.
Got through it and learned a lot. But I built walls and I was just looking for a way, that's one of those things like, great, your motivation for the next few years is going to be vengeance, or it's going to be like, well, how do I show them, that they made a huge mistake here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I focused on now, Ben, don't drop off when I say this.
Trigger warning, Ben.
Trigger warning, Ben. I focused on my abilities in math and science and, just worked in academics. And at the time, initially when I moved to junior high, also, I was wiped out academically because that was the first time I was leveled. If you've had kids, they basically kind of teach everybody as a group in most
Mhm.
schools
Yeah.
until you get to a certain age.
Mhm.
And then you're leveled, which means you're like me and I had the incentive to do well in school, then you end up in this class with all the other folks who have done well in their grades and
Yeah.
Advanced placement. Yeah.
you get pushed academically.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that was something that I was not used to yet.
Mhm.
Um, and that so all those adjustments at once were pretty hard at junior high. By the time I got to high school, a couple things happened. First, the clique kind of loosened up and the social structure was a little bit freer in high school. I
Mhm.
know that a lot of places don't have that, but that was true in our high school. And let's see, in high school, we did I think algebra in 8th grade, was in geometry in 9th grade in high school. And one of the things that happened was my geometry teacher was one of 2 teachers that were chair of a math club in the school. And yes, this is again, Ben, don't go away. Where it's a club, but it's really a competition between schools
Mhm.
where you actually go in early one day and take these math tests that are
Mhm.
word problems. And there's like 6 word problems in this test, and it's like once a month. And the top 5 scorers in the school, and your score is how many you got right. Top 5 scorers in the school are totaled up for how many they got right. And then
Mhm.
that gets compared to the other schools that are part of the system.
Yeah.
So you're competing against other schools. So my first test I took as a freshman, I didn't realize they were going to do this. They reported the the top scorers on the PA system that morning after we had taken the test, and I had tied for the top score in the school.
Mm.
The first test I took as a freshman.
Wow.
Now, I also set the bar pretty high for myself from that point on, as far as
I
my
was
math
going to say
teachers were.
there's nowhere to go but down from there, right?
You know, I skipped 7th grade. I tested out. I was in the 6th grade, you know, went through 6th grade and then got to 7th. And I was bored. I was just bored. And they started doing all these weird tests on me and everything. And they said, well, they told my parents they wanted to put me in the 8th grade, just move me straight to 8th. And that was kind of like a blessing and a curse, because it kind of put like a little bit of a target on me, because they wanted to put me in like they did the whole level things where they had like 8-1, 8-2, 8-3, 8-4, you know, and they wanted to put me down in the dummy one. And I
Wait,
said,
they
why?
wanted to advance you to 8th grade, but they wanted to put you in the
But put me in the dummy one. I said, then I'll
dummy
stay
8th
in the
grade.
7th. I said, I want in 8-1, or I don't want to move up. I said, if I can't handle it, then move me to 8-2, and you know, we'll see. But I want in 8-1. And I came in 7th in my class, and there was 110 kids in my class, and I graduated 8th grade 7th in my class. So also graduated high school 7th in my class. So
yeah, they tried to move me from 4th to 6th, but my mom wasn't having it. She said
yeah.
said it would have been a nightmare
2 grades?
socially. Yeah.
Socially, yeah. I've
Dang.
always been friends more with the ones
This is a really cool
older than me.
subject. I didn't
It really is.
okay. Rest
I
of you
didn't
in
know
the
I didn't
chat.
know that about either one of you.
Rest of you in the
Yeah.
chat. How many of you were grade skippers?
Yeah.
That's
I also want to
very
tell the ones in the
interesting.
chat, in case you don't realize, the reason that my lighting sucks so bad is because I can't handle the bright lights. I just had eye surgery, and I still can't handle the bright lights. So I'm in a very dim room with very dim lights.
Actually, you look pretty bright compared to me. I look like I'm in a
Your
cave.
coloring, both of your
You-
all's coloring looks good, and mine's terrible, but it's
Mm.
because of the lighting in here. It's because of having to have it filtered to keep me where I can actually see. Because by this
Right.
time of day, my
And-
eyes are kind of tired. So
So Lord Kissbreak says I skipped 1st grade because my dad taught me to read, write, and count the summer before.
yeah.
Mm.
7th said they held me back in 2nd grade, but tried to move me up in 5th. But my mom, but my mom wouldn't.
Steve,
All
what?
right.
What the heck?
Yeah. Something wrong with that guy. But in the best way.
What'd you say?
They tried to hold you back, and then they wanted to move you ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Mark's over there saying I didn't move up, but the teachers all thought I did. He had a friend that he rode to school with, and the friend didn't want everybody to know that he was hanging around with a junior, the friend, or a sophomore. That
Oh.
he didn't want them to know he's hanging around with this young kid, you know.
Oh.
So so everybody thought he was a senior, and the next year when he came back, from his junior year, the
Mhm.
teachers were like, "What are you doing here?" And he goes, "I'm a senior." So
So now,
you should have walked across the stage. Maybe you could have
Yeah, no
slipped
kidding.
and got a diploma.
Could have gotten away with it. So
Yeah.
Jan says, I was good in math up until algebra 2. After that, it was all downhill. Me and you both, sister. We called it intermediate algebra. I did great in
Yeah.
algebra 1, but oh my God. Yeah. Once
I
the
didn't like
numbers
math.
turned to letters, it was all downhill for me.
I can actually do it better now. I have an easier understanding of stuff now than I
Yeah.
did then.
Yeah, you notice that later in life, we
Yeah,
seem to catch
like,
it better than when we
stuff
were
kinda
young.
makes a little more sense.
Hmm.
Yeah, Mark's
Russian
over there talking.
propaganda.
Lori Driscoll says, no, algebra 2 for me. Skip that for German class. That would have been a good one to take. I took Spanish.
Interesting.
Should have
Now,
taken German.
but one of the other interesting parts of that dynamic, I mean, I missed out on a lot of things socially through those years in junior high,
Mhm.
which I think left me with some deficit in terms of
Yeah.
recognizing facial expressions and like emotions and things like that
Mhm.
in people.
Hmm.
I understand
But
that.
one other thing which was different for me, which I think was very helpful, is after my mom had, my mom recognized what was going on with her and worked to change.
Hmm.
And so one of the ways that she did that was she deepened her religion. And in the mid 70s, where that was, there was this thing going on in the Catholic Church called the Catholic Charismatic Movement.
Hmm.
And there was a priest not far from where we were that had a gift. And I'm going to get to the gift is very interesting. I was like, I'm trying to figure about 8 years old, 8 or 9. And I only remember really going to 1 or 2 services with my mom. And one of the things that happened there is it was in a community that was Spanish speaking. So about half the ceremonies and speaking was in Spanish, which is, I can understand a lot more of it now. Yes, Jimena. It's cool. But back then I knew nothing. And then when you're an 8-year-old in, ceremonies in church and you don't understand the language, things get kind of boring pretty fast.
Yeah.
But one of the things that this priest did is each time they had ceremonies, he would get the water, holy water, and go around the church and bless everybody. And a proportion of the people, not everybody, but some of the people who got hit by the droplets of water would collapse in place where they were. And they even had ushers who would follow around where he was scattering the water to make sure they caught people and kind of help them, crumple in place in their seats or something like that.
That sounds like something that happens in the Baptist church. I've never seen that in the Catholic church.
Now, but the interesting thing about that was, and when that day that we were there, both my dad and my older brother collapsed and crumpled. And me being an 8-year-old, I think I was I'm the 8-year-old mind working. I was thinking, well, it didn't happen to me because I believed. So but the next day, one of the things we did, next day was Monday. And every day we would give my dad a hug. We were all getting ready to go to school. So, and before he went to work, we would give my dad a hug every morning. So I'm there. I think I was the first of us 3. I reach up to give my dad a hug and the lights went out.
Wow.
I was in complete sensory nothingness. I existed. I was aware I existed. No sound, no sight, no sensations of body or anything like that. I don't know how long I was there. It didn't seem like it was a long time, but the sensations, what started to come back to me was a sensation of when you're a parent and you have a little kid and you play this game where you hold the kid by the wrist and kind of spin around until the kid's legs come off the ground. That's what it started to feel like for me. And then as I kind of came back to, my dad was holding me by my arms. So I kind of figured that's where the sensation began to come back into my brain.
Wow.
But now I look back at that and I say to myself, I have a PhD in biochemistry and a bachelor's in biomedical engineering. There is absolutely no explanation for what happened to me. It's not chemical. I can tell you that for several reasons. One of which is, okay, this is a priest in the 1970s in central Massachusetts. Okay. If you think about, the Catholic Church, the whole spreading water thing is there's essentially a bucket. It's an ornate bucket, but it's a bucket. And the water spreading thing is basically like a handheld mic that's hollow. It's got, so you just it in and they bring it up and then shake it everywhere. Well, about 90% of the water goes down the priest's arm and about 10% of the water is what ends up getting scattered out. So if you'd like to say, and the other thing is when people would get hit by the drops of water, they would crumple instantaneously. And pharmacology, it don't work like that. Anything that touches your skin, even if it has a vehicle like DMSO, which enables stuff to penetrate through your skin, it still has to go into your venous circulation, get pumped through the heart, through the lungs, back into the other side of the heart before it gets into the brain where it would actually knock you out.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So the whole instantaneous thing is nothing, not happening
Mhm.
chemically. Number two, if a priest can come up with something that
Yeah.
instantaneously knocks people out, I think there's a few folks who want to talk to him. The police, the military, organized crime, or any other such folks who would like to knock people out. Think about it. If they could just spritz water on somebody and walk off with their stuff.
Mhm.
And has anybody seen any
Mm.
type of, everybody, the police would like to say, oh, well, here we go. We're going to just spritz somebody and then
Yeah.
they won't be an issue and put the
Mhm.
handcuffs on them or something like that. Never happened. And I understand the Baptist thing, like, either suggestion or just, being
Yeah.
carried along with it.
Mhm.
And I can understand that, like, in the church, but not with me the next morning.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just doing what I did every day, which is give my dad a hug.
Mm.
On the flip side of that, I can understand the other explanation, the thing which would work off quickly in the body and at my house is good old static electricity or something like that, right?
That's what I was thinking. Some kind of electrostatic charge. Yeah.
But on the other hand,
That's
those other folks
very
the day before
coincidental.
are having collapsing from scattering of water.
Mhm.
Electrostatic charge,
Doesn't work like that, right?
not
Yeah.
happening.
Mhm.
So now I only have one data point, but for me, what that one data point, what I said is, along with what Ben has, said recently in a number of studies, are
Mhm.
beginning to wonder, where is consciousness? And that one data point to me says, is consciousness simply, excuse me, I forgot to get myself some water, bioelectrochemical, field? And the answer to me is absolutely not.
Mhm.
I have no idea what it was.
Yeah.
The English language sucks sometimes. That you can just use the word energy for,
Yeah.
what caused what happened to me. But give me one sec. Did somebody boot this person?
I was trying to. I unfortunately don't seem to have my wrench skills here. I've
Oops.
been trying to boot this person.
One of the other mods will take care of it.
Yeah, hopefully.
If
Thank you,
not, I
Mod.
just did.
All right,
I
good. Thanks, Sus.
I think.
Yeah. Mish got me back in, but I don't have my normal admin privileges, so I'm not able to
Yeah,
start.
I think it's
boot
because of the
anybody.
way this is set up. But
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
I just happened to notice that comment in the chat. And
yeah. Yeah. I think if we may have done it at the same time.
Yeah.
that's
okay.
why as soon as it clicked on it, and that's like ban the user or something like that, I said, wait a minute, let me make sure that it's actually like I didn't accidentally click on what had rolled up behind when somebody else had already deleted it.
Thanks,
So I didn't
Darlene.
do that.
Darlene got it. Thanks, Dar.
Wow.
So you're a PhD. I knew you were
I
a bright guy,
know.
but I didn't know you were that bright.
I was gonna tell you,
I have
John.
a
I've been
master's and a
busy all day.
bachelor's, and you got a PhD. Okay. Touche,
Yeah,
my friend.
after
Touche.
I have a nothing.
Well,
I
Susie,
said
you
I'm
got
gonna be the
you got a
dumbest person
degree.
in the room.
You got the best degree of them all. You got a degree from the School of Hard Knocks.
Oh yeah. Hey, I did go to beauty college.
If you got a certificate and it's framed and on the wall, you're good.
Did it. Yeah.
yeah.
I
he was
took
just
classes, but I didn't get a degree. So,
oh yeah, well that's
you
okay.
know.
Believe me, I know people who are not worth their not
Yeah.
worth a lick that have degrees. So
Both of my daughters have degrees though.
hmm
Both of my daughters.
So when I was at undergrad, I joined a fraternity.
Mhm.
It was
Yeah.
one I was not going to, but this one actually happens to have a particular policy against hazing, and it actually the definitions of members who are pre-initiated is they are brothers who simply haven't been initiated yet. And so there's like, there's a lot more, there's standards against hazing and things like that, which was one of the reasons I was willing to join.
Yeah,
But
I was always reluctant to join just for that reason.
previous experiences,
Oh yeah, can you
let's
imagine
say
PTSD from that?
my attitude towards some people wasn't so great.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
think my default setting for people was to assume something, that they were gonna, be a problem or something like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
You gotta
when you that's your default setting,
Yeah. I
tend to
had
be
that
somewhat
default setting.
antagonistic towards just about everybody.
Hmm.
Yeah. I can't pull this comment up, but I want to read it. Lakeside Laura says, "It's wonderful to hear a PhD admit there is more to science than we understand." I agree.
Yeah, I can't pull it up either. Mhm.
Oh, just wait. I mean, that's part of one of the fun things that I do when I watch things on YouTube. There's a whole bunch of channels, whether they're specifically related to near-death experiences,
Hey,
even like
Christy.
some of the weird stories and things like that are. Hi,
Mhm.
Christy. Are a lot of fun for me to watch, and they have interesting stories about things like um, time loops and
Yeah.
changing
Mhm.
timelines and things like that that are like, what?
Mhm. You know what? I would love, Susie, mark this down somewhere because I know you like to write things down in notebooks.
I've got my cards.
We need to, you and I need to do an interview with Rich and Ben sometime
Yeah. Wouldn't that be
because,
fun?
yes, because those two together, I think would be gold. And
So
Ben says he's jelly for Rich's degrees. So am I.
We'll do that. Maybe we could do it in the next week or so.
Yeah, that'd
Have
be
have them
wonderful.
on
As
there.
long as
that
they're
would be
down.
fun. That would be
Mhm.
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Um, so where was I going with that?
Mark's
Yeah,
over there saying,
that
I have
person.
an
One of the
assessment.
things that happened in the fraternity, though, is I did have someone as I became more of an upperclassman, I did have someone ask me a question. John Celeste, wherever you are, thank you. Question me on that. And
Yeah.
at the time, my answer was, well, I had this abuse in my past.
Hmm.
Even as I said it, this thing kind of inside me said, that's a crappy answer.
Yeah.
You've got to, that can't be a limitation for you for your whole life.
Yeah.
Um,
Is above.
and so that started, a bunch of exploration on my part. Again, functionality. How do I fix this? How do I change
Yeah.
this? How do I make, what's in here more functional for what I really want, which
Mhm.
is better relationships with people?
You know, one of the fascinating things that I'd love to talk to you about, Rich, sometime is because you have rare insight into two things that often seem to butt heads, which is religion and science.
Hmm.
And I'd be absolutely fascinated to hear some of your thoughts on
I would too.
how you um, balance those two things.
Balance those two things.
Hmm.
Well, Christy and I were just having a little bit of a conversation about that,
Yeah.
and just how some people just don't believe that that they can work together,
Hmm.
and yet it does. You know,
Well,
you
the
just
biggest
have to.
argument is that, science can prove that man existed 2 million years ago, but the Bible says that, Adam and Eve were created, a couple thousand years ago. So how do you,
Yeah, but
justify
in the
those two things?
Bible, people also lived 800 years,
Right.
so I don't know what the timeline
Yeah,
is in that sort. You know what I mean? I don't
exactly.
believe that it's necessarily
Right. But I mean, there are, I've
true.
heard several religious scholars who are also well-educated men
Yes.
talk about how they do that, how
Yeah, it
they
would be
set
fun
that
to talk
balance
to you about
between
all
the
that.
two. And it's a fascinating subject. I mean, we could do like a multi-part series on something like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And that gets into, speaking of the Bible and things like that, that gets into my kind of little first, I would say, cult brush.
Yeah.
Um, because when I was in grad school, there was another student, I think he might have been a med student,
Mhm.
because I did go to a graduate school that was associated with a medical school,
Hmm.
who was inviting to a Bible study. But that Bible study turned out to actually
Not at all.
be a kind of high pressure, induction push
Yeah.
um, for what I can only refer to as a Christian cult. At the time, um, they simply called themselves, it was Church of Christ, but I think it might have been the Church of Christ of New York. And I understand that if you look up these Church of Christ of different locations, they actually were, they did have a reputation for being kind of culty and things like that.
Yeah.
And
Church of Christ in general does, but especially if you add something from my
yeah,
understanding with, you know.
yeah. So
But
one of
yeah,
the
so what
issues,
happened? I gotta know.
well, what happened with me was just that they more or less, I had never really questioned my beliefs. I was one of those non-questioner kind of kids.
Mhm.
And because of that, when it came time to have those beliefs and things like challenged, I didn't have a lot to back it up. Now,
Mhm.
the Catholic Church, by the way, if you look at masses and things like that, they do readings from the Bible
Mhm.
every mass. They do an Old Testament reading and they do on a rotating 3-year cycle. What they do is they do one of the synoptics
Mhm.
and then they'll do John on special occasions.
Yeah.
Um, but you only get whatever readings that the Catholic Church has approved. So technically, if you're a Catholic, if you haven't spent a lot of time reading the Bible, you don't have like a full perspective on the whole Bible.
Yeah.
Right.
And so they were using quotes from the Bible to attack the Catholic Church, which is hilarious because the Catholic Church was the church that had the Bible assembled in the first place. Funny. But so they managed to undercut basically my confidence in my beliefs. But at the same time, they were, let's say, they were really way too like hard push and eager. And I actually had a couple nightmares
Mm.
during that time that I still remember. I still remember one funny thing. I remember nightmare. I was in two places. I was strapped down to a bed in a hospital. And I remember there was somebody near me. I couldn't see them. I was strapped down. And then I could see like the space like through a hallway that ran past my bed. And I see in the dream, I see me like in a hospital gown running away from a bunch of people. First, it was a little dog and then a bunch of people chasing. And the person who's next to me said, they're going to horribilize that guy. Horribilize is not a word. It was there in my dream. Don't come to me with the fact that it's not a word. That was,
Me and John are like,
it was there. And in my brain, as I'm watching it in the dream, what I think is, boy, I hope they don't recognize the fact that I'm over here stuck in here because I'm strapped in. And of course, as soon as something like that happens in your brain in the dream, you call things around. And so this dog jumps up on the bed and runs and jumps at my face and is going to bite me. And that's, of course, when you wake up.
Right. Exactly. Just in time to be in a full panic.
Full panic. So I didn't join Le Cult, but I do, that was where I then, started to look at whole cult injection techniques and things like that. But I also spent a good amount of time then trying to figure out what was it that I believed.
yeah.
And going through Bible reading and things like that. I figured out a couple of things when I was reading, which is Old Testament. I really don't like the Old Testament.
I don't either.
No, it's pretty scary.
I mean, it's got some of the
God
cool
is
stories.
really mean, man.
I'm like, he's kind of a dick. I mean, don't strike me dead. But I mean, seriously, if you had somebody that knew nothing, you really, literally nothing about the Bible, and you sat them down and they just with the Old Testament, they're gonna run.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it is scary because I mean, I hate to bring up her name, but whenever Reese started like dabbling with the Bible and everything, I said, skip the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Don't even open that part up. Go to the middle of the book, and read that other stuff. Because I
Well,
said,
for me,
it's hard to
yeah,
understand and it's scary.
the one that had always, I think, spoken to me growing up was John. And for the first time I went to John 1,
Hmm.
and hadn't read it before. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was
Yeah.
God. He was coming into the world. Now, I had looked up. Oh, and by the way, the fun part of my Bible, I can't. It won't show. It won't register on here. I have a gilded edge copy, leather-bound copy of the
Mm.
Jerusalem Bible, which is the Catholic Bible from like the 1970s, which I got from the church after being like altar boy through high school.
Hmm. I was going to say, I got one from being an altar boy too.
And if you look, this one actually had the list of compilers. Those who actually translated this
Hmm.
Bible, the Jerusalem Bible
Mhm.
from that time. One of them is J.R.R. Tolkien.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that. I'll have to go back and look now.
And I
Holy
looked at
mackerel.
all the footnotes everywhere. I could not find a Hobbit anywhere. I tried.
I was a good Catholic boy and I didn't even know that. Wow.
I didn't know it either. It was there, and I'm like, whoa, wait, really? Wow, cool.
Yeah.
But I think that's also where he gets,
Wow.
a lot of his understanding of different things in background and religion and stuff.
Lori Driscoll says she was a Catholic grade schooler.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
my
Carrie
mom.
Carrie went to Catholic school.
Did she?
I thought I pretended to be Catholic. Well, all the
So
little kids in my 3rd grade class got out of they were all I went to a probably 90% Hispanic school. I was literally, at one point, the only white kid in the entire school, literally, and it wasn't a tiny school. But, anyway, so when they got out of school on Fridays to go to the church, I went with them because 'cause I'm like, "Well, I don't wanna be stuck here by
Hmm.
myself." And then I was always scared, so I'd hide from the nuns.
yeah.
Mm.
They found me, though.
So one of the things
Yeah.
that Church of Christ did, and if you look at it, the word that goes back to the Book of Wisdom, where the word is wisdom
Mhm.
incarnate. I had a hard time grasping that wisdom concept, though. You know what I mean? It's like, what is wisdom?
Hmm.
Intelligence when
Mhm.
applied to interacting with people. I mean, it didn't click with me.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah.
But you know what? And I realized, the folks in the Church of Christ, what they always said is the Word of God. But it's like the entire Bible is the Word of God, the Word of God. And
Yeah.
this little voice in my head said, "That's
Hmm.
an awful lot of word. That's not a word. That's an awful lot of words."
Yeah.
I always wanna say, "Well, how do we know?" Because they were not running around writing, down everything. They didn't have a recorder. I mean, I know that, it says that God talked to people back, literally then,
Hmm.
but at the same time, like, even the stuff that is attributed to Christ, I'm like, "How do we know that he said that? You weren't recording it, because that's the journalist in me. How do I know that's a
Well,
quote from
yeah.
Christ?"
And
Yep.
there's been so many iterations of it over the
Yeah,
years, it's hard to say, who's taking creative license, here or
yeah,
there, or, and
Yep.
then don't even
exactly.
get me started on the King James Bible because, I mean, he
Yeah,
commissioned the whole basically rewriting of it. So,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah. So for me, it said, well, the little voice in my head said, so what is the word? The one
Mhm.
word.
right. Exactly. The true word.
Victor, where are you? You in there still? What is the one word? The word
Hmm.
is love.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
But in reading that and then going through John 1, something kind of occurred to me. And I'd say it occurred to me, but it's kind of like I realized, metaphysical reality. Jesus was the incarnation of God's love.
Hmm.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's a really cool thing.
Yeah, it is.
Um,
It is.
but now it's like, well, what does that do for me on a path?
Right.
And then I go, I am the way, the truth, and the life. You think about how the disciples who became apostles had something happen with Holy Spirit, which changed them. And I got this, what I call the most audacious thought ever.
Hmm.
What if Jesus wasn't the only one?
True.
What if
Mhm.
we all have the opportunity or option to be the incarnation of God's love?
Mhm.
That is the way.
Right.
And so, so that's actually where I began to look more into love and the aspects of love. And my favorite book on love, which I seem to have lost the last time we moved, I've got to get another one, is this little bitty thin volume by a guy named Felice Leonardo Buscaglia. And because he was moderator for a class on love, and it was all about, I don't remember where it was, but he had a whole bunch of students who would have, discussions for each semester, non-credit, on different aspects of what love, of what
Mhm.
love was.
Hmm.
And that was really cool. And then I was in, maybe Ben, maybe some of you will remember these fun things way back in the beginning of the internet, Usenet. And in
Oh, yeah.
Usenet groups, kind of
That goes way back.
that's
The
way
forerunner
back,
to the internet.
Yeah.
forerunner to the internet. And there was this one person who was posting messages which fit very closely with that philosophy and that path. Now, I had an issue with them because they said, this is a message automatically transcribed by someone, lawyer James E. Padgett, and it says, I am here, Jesus, blah, 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 blah. So he's supposedly receiving automatic messages from Jesus. And I was thinking to myself, yeah, right. And the world ended sometime 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
Like anytime you see folks, doing things like that on Usenet or anywhere else, it's like you kind of go back, and the church that I know has this reputation for having predicted the end of the world many times is Jehovah's Witnesses, but
Mhm.
and it hasn't happened yet. Um, but everything that he posted never really that never materialized. And so I looked further into those different writings and teachings, and it was really interesting because for me it was like, well, it isn't just instantaneously receive this love, but it's you have to continue to go back, pray all the time for it. It's a very afterlife focused type of a religion where it's like what you're doing is you're made in the image. Your soul is made, your soul, God is soul, your soul is made in the image of God's soul,
Mhm.
but not the substance.
Yeah.
Mm.
If you want substance, you ask for it
Mhm.
Right.
and receive it. And that's actually been the central core of my spiritual path for like the last 30 years.
Wow.
Mm.
Except, of course, life interferes. You know what I mean? It's like
Sure.
you want to think about that every now and then.
Absolutely.
But more recently, I guess, I've kind of really been able to focus on that when I go to Truthwave every morning, or almost every morning and night. And part of that meditation is again reaching out and and um, and then sending love to everybody.
Mhm.
And I think it's really changed what I feel in terms of a number of people. This is kind of mixing religions, Eastern religions, like
Mhm.
crown chakra activation,
Yeah.
third eye, and in through heart chakra activation and just heart activation, and really feeling, I'm going to say, pulled in, the direction of both wanting to share love and healing with all y'all. I you
Mhm.
have your Hashimoto's, Susie, and
Mhm.
cancer and stuff, and so I've been sending love and healing your way.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
send a ton towards KM,
Yeah.
Keela, and Mish and Mish's husband, and just all sorts of people every time I'm there in Truthwave.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
it's
I'm
really made a difference
fascinated
in what I feel.
by different people's belief systems and mixture of belief systems, like you can take some from here and some from there, and like Christy was talking about that, that basically the spirit and science, they have to work together. It has to work together, just the way that our bodies are even created and constructed. It's
Trying to figure out reality is one of those most interesting and difficult tasks, I think.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things that I'm spending time doing now, and watching videos and things like that, and looking at different experts and opinions and reviews. And although I haven't made a lot of videos, I've got a bunch of reposts in my post section of things that I'm sure Ben would find interesting, and I'm willing to bet a number of other folks would too. Yeah.
We really do need to get us together and get Ben, maybe even Christy, if she wants to come on, and just all of us talk, because we all have such different opinions about things, and yet we intersect on a lot. We come at things sometimes from different directions, but we end up in the same places, and it's just I just find it fascinating.
And Susie and I are always talking about bringing on people who are members of the community, because
Exactly.
we don't. I mean, we get to interact with these people on a semi-regular basis, but
Mhm.
I knew that you were a very interesting guy, Rich, and I knew that I
Yeah.
wanted to get to know you better, but I had no idea
And there's
what
still
kind of
more that we
insight
wanna
you
talk
have.
about. There's still
Yeah, I
more.
mean,
Thanks. Yeah. There's
we could go on for hours
Yes.
talking about
we
any
could go
Absolutely.
on
number of
for
things.
hours, except that we have about 13 minutes left.
But yeah, I mean, seriously, that's what I mean. When we get over on my channel by us, we can go as long as we want. Till Mayor
Exactly.
kicks us off. Till Mayor starts griping at me.
Yeah. I do want to read one comment real quick, if you don't
Okay.
mind. So
No,
this
no,
is from
Sure.
absolutely.
Indigo. It says, "My favorite passage that I live by is 1 Corinthians, most often used during weddings. Love
1
is
Corinthians
patient."
13. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I think it is 13. "Love is
Yeah, it is.
patient, love is kind. It does not judge. It is not envious, boastful, or arrogant."
Absolutely.
I mean, we could have an entire conversation
Just love.
about love, because, one of the things that made me have my crisis of faith early, in my or late teens, early 20s, was I could not square the circle about, God's message was always about love.
Mhm.
But then we as man, we bastardize that.
Mhm.
And, when you think about things like the Crusades and things like
Yeah.
that, I mean, we took that and we
Totally.
just
All
twisted
in
it
the
into
name of.
something ugly in the name of
Yeah.
someone who preached nothing but love. I mean, we could have a 3-part series just on that, So,
Absolutely. We should look
Yeah.
into that. We can see what you're doing to us, Rich. You're making us come
yeah,
up with all these shows.
Taking
well,
you
You
through
you're
this
better be
stuff.
making
making us
yourself
pull our
available.
calendars out. That's a good thing.
Yeah. There are
Yeah.
some,
Absolutely.
Lori, interesting thing. Yeah. The problem of evil.
Yeah, I mean, and these are
I'd
conversations that are
like
worth
to
having that I think
pull
everybody would be
Christy in
interested
on
in.
that to some degree
Yeah.
too.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yes. Hmm.
I think we could
Absolutely.
have those could be really interesting discussions. But
Absolutely.
one of the things for me um, so real quick while we only have a few minutes left, another weirdo, just cult brush, and actually how I ended up here. Married, Amway, tried to start an Amway business. There's another cult. I can't, get into
Oh,
Yes.
too
yeah.
much of that.
I've known a few
Yeah.
people in that one.
Known a few people of that one. But while this group that followed these Paget messages, were herd of cats, kind of like this bunch here.
Hmm.
Herd of cats scattered around the world, actually. It's exactly the same as these folks
Yeah.
here. There was somebody who kind of, I don't know where or how, began back contacting people in the group, and he had this weird kind of proposition or belief. He was Jesus reincarnated, and they were his disciples reincarnated. And he was gonna, get them together and to bring the disciples back together
Hmm.
and create this church, this new thing. Um,
Mhm.
I kind of shot a few holes in his entire thing. One of the things which I don't necessarily believe right now, Indigo, and other things, is that part of the messages, one of their things was there was no such thing as reincarnation.
Hmm.
So as he's trying to grab and borrow these teachings and belief as part of what he's,
Mhm.
commissioned together his own thing to teach people. I'm like, wait a minute, there's no such thing as reincarnation. And he said, but so then he has to come up with something like special dispensation. God's plan is not going according to schedule, and there's an emergency, and so he had to have emergency dispensation for reincarnation. And I was like, oh, I see. So God screwed up. Is that what you
Yeah.
said?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I didn't say God. I said, yes, you did.
Yeah. Maybe not in those words, but yeah.
God's a
did.
bad program manager, apparently. I don't know. So he did not pull me in, but he did pull in a few other people, and they started their own thing. He was in Australia, and what got me into YouTube, other than watching videos of Daughtry on The Masked Singer, was I was just kind of following up on this guy saying, well, it's been a number of years since I've seen or heard about him, Alan John Miller, AJ Miller. Does he still exist? What's going on? And I looked things up, and there was an interview on a channel that had him there. I didn't watch very much of it because he was pretty much the same as he had been. But again, YouTube suggests things, and this other video that was right next to it was by this guy, Aaron Smith Blevin. And I had watched the aftermath. Again, getting out of cults, to me, one of the things that was interesting is other people getting out of cults.
Yeah.
They have their beliefs, undercut from under them. Part of it is wanting to be supportive for folks who are finding that a challenge. But the question is, Scientology is one of those weirdo things. It's not a religion.
Yeah.
It's, recovery is very different from having your religious beliefs cut out from under you.
All right, Christy, we're going to
that would be
keep
cool.
you up on that.
But that's how I got, just found and started watching Aaron. And at the time, I don't think I think he was just getting some of the other folks to start their own channels. I had found one other person who had created some videos in his links in his more section. And that's Kelly Copter, who is
yeah, she's amazing.
Still
Yes.
One of my favorites and best people around. And so I started watching and then, chatting. One of the first people I chatted with was Doug Kramer, who unfortunately no longer with us.
Yeah.
But he was so cool. It was just, and I found it so hard to watch. I find his videos, again, watch them back, because when you get used to chatting, there's this thing. It's like, I want to send in a chat or a comment, and you just have this expectation of getting an answer back.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I want to make, raise something about this point that he made or something. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, I know.
Never
Doug
gonna
was
happen.
incredible.
I
We
never
talked
knew
about
him,
him a
I
lot.
kind of came on the scene right when he was, missing, when, they were trying to figure out where is he kind of deal. And I just thought, oh my God, what is
Yeah.
this? What's going on?
But Aaron led me to that other channel,
Yeah.
the channel we will not talk about.
Yeah. The channel
Other
cannot be
than
named.
the fact that, one of the things that for me was, part of what I've, really just been bringing the whole time I've been here is that listening ear. So that channel did one of the great things it did for me was it helped reduce my degree of judgmentalism. It taught me to be non-judgmental for a lot of folks, based on where they had been or where they are now and what they're struggling with or not struggling with. To just really want to be a listening ear and of help. And I spent a lot of time there basically catching the people who were being missed and making new friends.
The best thing about that channel, I have said this every time I say anything about that channel, was not the host, it was the chat. And so as much as I despise him, I almost thank God for that channel in some ways, because it did bring some really great people together.
Brought a lot of us together, yeah.
Yeah, it brought so many people together that even that aren't on my channel, or wherever they're on other channels. They're all over the place. Some of them are on mine, but
We got to involve
they're
you in
all over.
discussions too, Indigo, and I'd love to.
Yeah.
I look forward. Really want to talk more with you.
I
Yeah.
really think that they have lived like 6, 7 different lifetimes. If there's such a thing as reincarnation, Indigo has been reincarnated.
Yes.
I have never met a person so well schooled in my life on a
On so many
variety of
things.
topics. I mean,
I
they
know.
know a little something about almost everything. It's
Yes.
fascinating to have conversations with them.
I know. I'm always we do shows, and I'm like, Indigo, I'm gonna be getting a hold of you. I promise. And the other day, I'm like, I was going to, and I didn't do it. I'm sorry,
Mhm,
but I am, because I'm really into this kind of a. I like deep discussions. I like to get
mhm.
on, like this with people, and just talk, and like when Christy and I, we go all over the place when we have discussions, and we're laughing about stuff, and then other times we're real serious, and
Mhm.
I love that. And for the most part, it seems like that's what the chat likes too, is people just getting up there and talking, and they find themselves agreeing with or mirrored in the conversations that we have. And
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, these are topics that a lot of us, I think, whether we were raised Catholic or
Mhm.
Baptist or Jewish or whatever,
Yeah.
that we've always kind of had these questions. And because religion is one of those topics that you don't talk about, it's a taboo,
I
subject.
know.
One of the third rails of YouTube, as they say, but they're important conversations to have. And I think we should be able to have an open dialect.
Touch that
Yeah, I'm
topic.
always like, we don't talk about, politics or religion. Well, except we do talk about religion, but not in a judgmental kind of way. We talk about but we talk about
Right.
religion all the
See, there we
time.
go.
But
Like
it's
said,
all
Dora, we all want authenticity.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
That's
absolutely.
part of being a whole person. You can't just
Yeah,
leave that out because,
right.
I
It it
think,
it does
again,
have so much to do with
engineering
us.
functionality, for me,
Mhm.
part of the spirituality is about, does it help you deal with people? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Is it, and that's a good measure for me. It's like if your beliefs tell you to go, like shoot the infidels, I think you've got a problem with your religion.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like, I'm pushing
Um,
the wrong button. I don't know what
Definitely
I'm
wrong,
pushing.
wrong direction. But to me, it's like, and I know one of the other things engineering is modeling. And I think each of us creates, if you have a God or an idea of what God is like, you're modeling
Mhm.
God based on
Mhm.
what you've learned and what you think about. And I think each of us has a model of God. And for me, it's kind of
Cool.
funny. My God is an engineer.
Mhm.
God is the great engineer. God knows how
Well,
our brains work, knows
yeah.
how our psychology works,
Mhm.
and wants the best for us. The greatest spiritual song to me ever written is Peter Gabriel's "In Your Eyes."
Mhm.
Oh yeah. That song kills
Yeah.
me every time I
It
hear
does
it.
me too.
Oh my god.
And it's like God
Yeah.
seeing the best of you
Mhm.
Mhm.
and how what you can be and how you
Mhm.
want to how much it means to you to reach that.
Right.
I always cry when I hear that song, that I Can Only Imagine.
Mhm.
Every time I hear that song, I cry.
Well, when I hear "In Your Eyes," I always think of that scene from Say Anything where John Cusack's standing there holding the boombox at her window playing it. So then it makes me cry twice, which sucks, but
Yeah.
yeah, Peter Gabriel was pretty deep with some of his music.
Yeah. And so
Mm.
for me, a lot of what I'm doing in the chats and with other folks is reaching out to God. I've really, feel lately an increase in that contact. Um, and then like just filling up with love and sending it back out to everybody.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And to me,
Absolutely.
that is hugely fun. That is
Oh,
like,
yeah.
um, it's like that is so much more fun to me than trolling or the other than the name Incarnate Troll. Okay, just kind of goofing off with that.
Mhm.
So how did you come up with your name?
Um,
I'm
that's kind
always
of
curious.
interesting. I had a roommate when I was doing in college who was into like kind of goofy science fiction.
Mhm.
And one of the book series that he had me read is a set of books by a guy named John DeChauncey called Castle Perilous.
Mhm.
And it's about this wizard who transmogrifies a dragon into a castle that has all these weird aspects that portals open places. When you get lost and run around, you can end up
Yeah.
on the wall of another room, like walk in and you're on the wall or you're on the ceiling
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and other stuff like that. But the wizard's name is Incarnadine. And Incarnadine comes from the color of blood.
Mhm.
And again, we're getting back to substance of soul and things like that. And if you remember Jewish tradition, the life of a thing is in
Yeah.
the blood.
Mhm.
And so I kind of meshed together two things of like Incarnadine, which is based on the life of a thing and the color, and then into soul and
That's cool. I
squished
like
them
that though
together.
because like I like that. I
Oh,
always
even the name Incarnosol in itself is a transmogrification. I like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm. All
So,
right. Well, I
And
think
we
we've come
have
up
reached
against our
time.
time, right? Yeah.
yeah, so what are
What
we
a
supposed to do?
fascinating,
I
what a
don't
Well,
know.
fascinating
actually, the
discussion
fun
this has
thing is
been.
the stream is supposed to continue with somebody else
Yeah, so
in
I'm
the
waiting for
stream
somebody to
here.
pop in.
Yeah.
So
I think
who is
Dar's in
up
the back.
next?
There we
Darcy's, is that
go.
you?
Hello,
Darcy.
Dar. You,
Yes, it's me.
all right.
Great.
So you ready to take the baton?
Sure am.
All right. Good deal. All right. Well,
Okay.
Rich, this has been a great
Yeah, I
conversation.
will get a hold of you
Thanks
and we'll
so much.
get
Yeah,
something
we
planned
can.
for the next few days.
We're
Absolutely.
gonna have some interesting stuff going on
I
here.
know. We
Hopefully,
might
with
have to do a
a bunch of
series, like
us.
where we talk about certain things and then talk about something else, and like a
Mm-hmm.
series.
Absolutely.
So,
Sounds like fun.
absolutely. Hey, Pizza, good to see you.
Hey,
I know
Pizza.
I haven't really kind of talked to the chat much, but I can't click on you guys from the way that this is set up tonight. So
Mm-hmm.
I will
Yeah,
talk to you. I promise.
include Indigo on that. Yep,
I
we
will.
definitely want
I will.
to.
I'm making a list. I got a whole little list over here. So
Remind Susie to message me. I will, Indigo. Indigo knows you well, Susie. See?
no, I
They
know.
know you well.
Oh, I tell you what, it has really been a mess because
Mm,
I'm not supposed to be. I can a little bit now. I'm like warming into it a little bit. But for about the last close to a month, I wasn't really supposed to have any screen time. I wasn't supposed to be reading books. I mean, so there's like
yeah,
I'm behind on everything. I'm
right.
like crazy behind on everything.
Well, that's all
And
right. I'll
so
be your human
I'm
Rolodex for a while.
okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and
Thanks,
back out,
guys.
but thank you guys for letting me be here with you tonight. I have enjoyed it
Thanks,
Thank
so
you for
Darcy.
much.
coming on.
Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Yes,
Yes.
thank
Thank you.
you.
I'm going to
Yes.
back out if I can figure out how.
All right,
Oh,
Dar.
somebody
It's
might
all
have to
yours.
bump me.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Have a good show.
Oh, no.
I'm just gonna remove all of us.
All right.
Thanks, Darlene.
You're welcome. So if anybody doesn't know me, I'm new to streaming and YouTube Live, and hopefully going to be doing more on my channel. I trying to learn to talk instead of listen. So that's a big part of it. I hope everybody's been having a good Thanksgiving. If not, I hope your night goes better.